President Trump this morning ignoring the long-standing advice of top military officials and the long-standing Washington tradition of keeping the 4th of July apolitical, and confirming he's finally getting what he's wanted since attending France's Bastille Day celebration in 2017, a big flashing military parade. The president promising Sherman tanks. Well, those went out of service more than 60 years ago, but there will be tanks and missiles, and some have already made an appearance on the streets of D.C.
We're going to have a great 4th of July in Washington, D.C. It'll be like no other. It'll be special. I'm going to say a few words, and we're going to have planes going overhead, the best fighter jets in the world, and other planes, too. And we're going to have some tanks stationed outside.
Joining me now, NBC's Peter Alexander, live from the White House. Michael Steele and Robert Costa are back with me as well. So tell us, Peter, about the ongoing preparations for Thursday's big event.
Yeah, Chris, not so much a parade now, but certainly a holiday salute to American military might this celebration will be. It's expected to feature, as you heard the president say, these flyovers by the Navy Blue SEALs, the F-35, the Osprey, a new version of Marine One, probably Air Force One as well, we're told. In addition, of course, to that speech by President Trump himself. Senior officials here say that he does not plan to deliver political remarks. Still, critics, of course, as you've heard, worry that he's taking away the focus from patriotism and putting it on partisanship. Just a short time ago, Kellyanne Conway, his counselor, said thematically the president will discuss our great democracy, troops in the military, and she said the success of the administration on job creation and veterans issues. On Monday, the president was asked if he can give a speech that can reach all Americans on the 4th of July. He said, "I think so," then proceeded to say that Americans want a strong military, education, and health care, and added that the Democrats' health care plan is, quote, going to destroy the country. It is worth noting this is free. It's open to the public. There will, though, be a section in the front for VIPs, including members of the president's family, friends, military members as well. And, Chris, the RNC will also be, the Republican National Committee will also be distributing tickets for those seats as well.
Giving us so much to talk about, Peter. So, Michael, as usual, reticent on your Twitter feed. You said this is going to be a hot mess. Yeah. Why?
Well, two reasons. One, logistics. First off, there is a certain feel and flow to this event on the National Mall. You know, you have the concerts, you have the fireworks, and it's all kind of orchestrated. What the president has done is now shifted it. It's no longer, the fireworks are not on the mall, it's on the Potomac, which means you're going to be shutting down parts of the city that in the past have not been shut down. And people are going to be confused of where to go and not to go. I mean, there's a rhythm. People come to this. I mean, Trump, you know, hasn't been to this event, so he doesn't know as a citizen what this feels like for a lot of people who go. So logistically, it's going to be a nightmare. There's going to be a lot of confusion and a lot of disruption. I think otherwise, politically, it's going to be a hot mess because you can give Donald Trump a script, but if he's standing on the Lincoln Memorial talking to the nation, he is going to make this political. He's going to turn this national holiday celebration of our heritage, our founding, and our patriotism into a political moment. Is the DNC been given tickets that they can hand out as well? Because that would tell me, or maybe it's not as partisan, sir. The DNC, I'm sure, don't have a swath of tickets that they're going to have sitting in the front row along with the Republican National Committee. So that tells you already where this is going, which is why this is going to be a hot mess.
I mean, to his point, Robert, and what Peter also said, you know, the president said, oh, he was going to give this patriotic speech and he's going to be uplifting. And then he went on to say the Democrats' health care plan will destroy America. And then he said this.
Got to be pretty careful with the tanks because the roads have a tendency not to like to carry heavy tanks, so we have to put them in certain areas. But we have the brand new Sherman tanks, so we have the brand new Abram tanks. And we have some incredible equipment, military equipment on display, brand new, and we're very proud of it.
Sherman tanks haven't been made since 1957, but he did acknowledge what city officials have said, Robert, that there's potential damage to city streets. Some of these tanks are 60 tons, and then there's the cost. People have said it could be tens of millions of dollars. So it's just a case of what? Why did he decide to go against everybody's advice?
Because the president, since day one of his presidency, has tried to surround himself with generals in his cabinet. He has used military rhetoric to really frame his own foreign policy and sometimes even his domestic policy. And so you have a president who at every turn is embracing the military as an image, as an idea, and that extends to this July 4th celebration. It has caused some alarm among Democrats and some Republicans who don't like the cost that this will present to the city of Washington. They don't like that it's really seeming like it's all about President Trump. But this is something that he's driven to, his advisors tell me, because he always wants to surround himself with the military. He thinks it's a sign of strength for himself and for the country. That's the argument they're making, and it's something that is very, very controversial.
Yeah, one of the things the Pentagon leaders have said is, look, once you start bringing out all this military equipment like missiles and tanks, it's evocative of North Korea, China, authoritarian rulers who want to have this show of strength. Michael, there is no doubt, nobody is disputing that the U.S. has by far the most powerful military in the world.
Right, and we've never had to display it on our city streets. First off, the federal government still owes the District of Columbia, where my parents reside, about $12 million from the inauguration, so pay that up. Second of all, make sure you cover the cost of this. But to your point, I think it's important to note that what we're going to be seeing on Thursday is the Putinization of our celebration of our national birthday, with a little, Kim Jong-un on top. And this satisfies Trump's ego and his desire to prove that it's not so much a celebration or a salute to America, but a salute to him and his idea of what he thinks America is, this militarized presence. He's got to show we have the strength. People around the world know our strength, and certainly we here at home know our strength. If you want to celebrate our veterans, which is what they say, we have Memorial Day, we have Veterans Day. This is a very different holiday. This is not a holiday that speaks to politics. It speaks to patriotism.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.